I can hear. I can already hear this bad sound. I can already hear it's all echoey in here. Excuse me. I can already hear it's all echoey. I already have. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why is it so echoey? Oh, hi. How are you? Oh, I need to get the chat going. Chat. Chat, 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 chat. Hello, Ali G. It reminds me of Ali G, like Sasha Banka. You just commented on Facebook. I was trying to get this shit going. I'm echoing. My stupid friend thought I should have my space out in a more professional area and not in my bedroom. But now, like, I've got vaulted ceilings. You're a mess. I'm so sorry, my darling. I'm so sorry. Okay, where do I put this chat? Oops. I'll keep this chat here. I'm so sorry you're a mess today. Wait, what am I doing here? Sorry, I'm just like getting my bearings on all this shizzle. All this shizzle. Ollie G. Nina, hello. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. Gonna give it from behind while you're drinking sangria. That's from Step Brothers. Okay, well, let's look. Here, let me just pull up some stuff. Well, I guess we can just start having people put their stuff in the chat. I'm not going to talk, I promise. Well, I will talk, but your friend X died yesterday. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Hi, Molly. How are you? Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I'm echoing so bad in here. I'm echoing so bad. My friend thought this would be more professional out here, but it's echoing. And I have like this bare wall. Anyway, I'm so sorry, my darling Ali G. How and was just conjunct by Venus. And it's funny because I got propositioned by two couples, and hopefully one of them is going to take me out to dinner soon here. And then another lady, and which is all very lovely, very Mars Venus type stuff. But then at the same time, it's my sixth house. And I've had a lot of nasty messages from transphobes. Am I into numerology? Well, yes. There are different types of numerology, though, you know? Excuse me. There's different types of numerology. Over yourself in a blankie or the echo? Over yourself in a blank. Can you hear does the echo sound really bad? Does it sound really bad, Nina? Oh my God. Does it sound really bad? Echo. Does it sound really bad? Have to stay close to the microphone. Okay, who's? You sure? Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, so who is here? Yes, I'm into numerology, but there's different ways of looking at it. So if I stay right up on the mic, it's okay. Okay, who the hell are we doing here? Sean or Ollie G. Did you want to? You don't hear echo, Ollie G. Ollie G. Since you were first in here and you don't hear an echo. Okay, good. Ollie G. Ollie G. If you want to put your information down, you were in here first and you had a pretty big thing happen with death and all. So if you want me to look. I'm so bad. I never eat before I come on. Ollie G. No, thank you. But do you want to share your birth stuff, Ollie G? Otherwise, I'll just go right to Sean. And I do tarot too. Oh, and please, you have all my stuff in the description. You better like the stream. There were 8 people, another 6. Who the fuck left? If you leave, you get, I will haunt you. Will haunt you. So yeah, Ollie, if you want to share your stuff. Huntsville, Alabama. What time? Oh my god. I'm eating, like, I get these little protein packs, like, by Oscar Mayer. They're good. It's just like cheese and almonds and turkey because I'm just, I'm trying not to have too many carbs. I have a belly that's sort of cramping my style. I need your time, my darling. Ollie G. Stop, it's Ollie G. Cool. It's 2:39. Ollie G. I don't know if anyone remembers Ollie G. And, excuse me, that's so rude of me. By 10/3, I assume you're American, so we'll take that as October 3rd and not March the 10th, because that's what we ran into the other day, last week, or earlier. I don't know what day it was, but someone was from Oz, Australia, and they did the same thing, 10/3 or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, October 3rd. No, it's March 10th. I mean, it wasn't the same date, but you know what I'm saying. Same principle. 1983, you're my age, my darling. We're the same year. And you're from, okay, 2:30. Was that what it was? 2:39. 2:29 p.m. 2:29 p.m. 2:29 p.m. from Huntsville. Huntsville. I want to use the C word for Huntsville. Huntsville, Alabama. Alabama, Arkansas. I sure love my ma and pa. Do, I love you. I am home. Home is wherever Ollie G. Okay, can we see it up here? I gotta be able to look. Can I look? Can I look? Wait, let me catch up here what you're all saying. You would love a reading, please. You better like the stream. Like the stream. Who is you? Cheese. See? Yes, I love cheese. Ollie G, for fuck's sake. Okay, Alia. Alia, I saw yours. You mucked it up. Okay. Alicia. Okay. Well, we're looking over here right now. You found out at midnight. I'm so sorry, my darling. I hope all your information's correct in here. Because I would have you at Capricorn, right? Excuse me. I would have you at Capricorn rising. I wonder if I should have my headphones in. So I'm not yelling. Because I don't need to be yelling. I don't need my neighbors to hear all this. What are you meowing at, Cat? No one wants to hear it. No one wants to hear it, Cat. Okay, I guess. Oh, okay. See, now I'm not yelling. So you're a Capricorn rising, my darling. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, let me think here. Let me think here for just a second. Oh, you like my mic? It's a gaming mic. It was on sale on Amazon when I moved here to start my business and stuff. And I'm like, oh, but it's probably like I probably should have gotten something more. Not a gaming mic. Hold the mic close and it's good. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Yay. I'm just getting my bearings here. Also because I'm pretty faded right now. I'm like, whoa. Say that. Is that something I can say on YouTube? I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. Well, first of all, you had a friend pass. Well, it's interesting because the 11th house, right? Scorpio, the eclipse, the last, what? Not a gaming mic? Who's a gaming mic? Would I do ASMR if you love ASMR? Well, I don't know. I don't know what sort of ASMR I would do. People tell me they like my voice, but I'm like, I sound hideous, you know? But anyway, I'm just thinking of a couple of things here. Number one, the eclipses. Or rather, the last solar eclipse before this past one that happened in October around Halloween of last year. I can kind of hear the echo, but you think it happened on Friday night. Anyway, so the eclipse that happened back in October, interestingly enough, was in your 11th house. And it was conjunct your Saturn, which is sort of interesting here. Well, let's look at a bi-wheel, I guess, with the transits on Friday. With the transit on Friday, bi-wheels, something, something, something. If you want to view Ollie G's chart, click the button view and view it. Animate the chart so you... Oh, it's not doing it. Okay, how do I do this? I'm going to add a source. I got to... This is so wackadoodle. It's so wackadoodle. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Add. I need to add. What? This is so confusing. It is so confusing. I want to add a screen capture. I want to add a screen capture. This is so... What does this have to be? Maybe it's not complicated. Maybe I'm just stupid. I mean, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Well, it's not letting me look at that like that. I just have to use my best. I have to use my best knowledge of where things are. I'm just looking at Friday. What was Friday? It was the 5th. Cinco de Drinko. You're adoring my gem blether. I can't help it. I can't stay quiet. And now I can't help but hear the echo. I can't unhear it. Okay, so Moon was in Scorpio here on Friday. I mean, that's sort of interesting too. I guess the Moon just went into Sag, but on Friday, you know that, well, the Moon was going through your 11th house. And the Moon rules your 7th house, you know, of partners. Here, let me, God damn it. It's just, I want you to see what I'm seeing. I want you to see what I'm seeing. Oh, wait, could you before? Wait, now what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. God damn it. I just want to show shit. That's all I want to do. I don't know why it's got to be so goddamn complicated. I don't know why things just have to be a pain in the ass. Why do things have to be such a fucking pain? Or maybe I'm just not. I just don't know. So anyway, I wanted to be able to show you the bi-wheel and shit. Whatever this is, like, I'm using this thing called Streamlabs. And I'm trying to, like, you have to add. God damn it. I'm going to delete that one. Can I delete that one? Yeah. I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to leave it alone for now. You might have just peed yourself. Like, are you into that sort of thing? Like, are you just trying to, like, I don't know. People do strange things when they watch me. Whatever floats your boat, darling. Go ahead and pee on yourself. I mean, I hope you got stung by a stingray or something. That's what they used to tell us at the lifeguards, you know, because I used to volunteer with the beach lifeguards. And they would say, if you got stung by a stingray, pee on yourself. I mean, they didn't say it like that, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, before I get carried on too much, the moon rules your seventh house here. And the moon was just passing over Saturn here, which is quite interesting. I mean, the other thing interesting to me here about Scorpio, oh God, excuse me, is that the eclipse happened here conjunct your Saturn back around Halloween. So I wonder if anything maybe gave you a prelude to this back around Halloween. You never tried Streamlabs? This is OBS. It's called Streamlabs OBS. Or whatever it is. Isn't that what this is called? Or maybe not. Anyway, I don't know. All I know is that I don't know how to do this particular goddamn thing. But anyway. Oh, you broke up then. So you see, this does coincide with some of that stuff, which is very interesting because you called him your ex, but also your friend. So you broke up with him. Excuse me around then. Oh my God, excuse me. And you're friends since high school, so you kept the friendship. Which is quite interesting. So that means that I wonder, where was Saturn then? Well, Saturn had just passed into Pisces. So I wonder if, excuse me, if Saturn was trying your Saturn. If Saturn was trying your Saturn. Here, let me do this. Okay, if you a bi-wheel, I'm sorry, but we have to do this together. We're going to trudge through hell together, whether we like it or not. It's just a teeny bit. So I'm going to open this up to view. And it's there. Look, you can see it. Yes. My wheel is there. My precious. Okay, this worked. I love it now. Awesome. But you were friends since high school. See, every once in a while, shit goes my way. And it's still Mercury retrograde. Excuse me. That's sort of rude. To subject you to all my chewing sounds. My daughter gets so mad at me for chewing. Anyway, so what I wanted to see here, excuse me, Friday. So animate. Oh, wait, no, see, when I animate, then it disappears. So what I have to do here, I have to add a source. And it's going to be a screen capture. Yes. And then what's next? Add source. Okay. Screen capture. Add a new source. There we go. Add a new source. Okay. And what do we want on this new source? What do we want? Animation. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Animation. When do we want it? Now. There's the animation. Or as I like to say, amination. Okay. So anyway, so now we can see the amination. Well, that only took up way more time than I wanted it to. But that's okay. So anyway, where'd the goddamn moon go? Wait, what? I'm in the future. In the year 2000. Okay, yeah, May 5th. May the 5th. Okay. Excuse me. Anyway, it's quite interesting that you had that eclipse around the time you guys broke up. And, sorry, what? You were friend, okay. Saturn is trying your Saturn. Molly, was Mars being in the seventh have a negative effect? It can, sure. Your recent ex beat you after he was blackout drunk. You had to escape your own place. Oh my God. That's right around the eclipse. What's your rising sign, Molly? What's your rising sign, Molly? Because that is right around the time of the eclipse at the end of April of last year. So, April 26, 27. I'm so sorry, my darling. But anyway, so your friend died. Anyway, we can look at the past and everything else. Oh, so you're a Capricorn rising, Molly, just like Ollie G here. So you both had that same sort of thing happen. Well, she would have had something in Taurus in the 5th house. And, you both would have back in April, at the end of April, which typically has to do with kids or romance. So relationship stuff. Oh my God. And you had this thing that had to do with romance, sort of, that you had to escape someone. It was an ex, I guess. And then Ollie G had a partner, a past partner. So this is sort of interesting to me. This is quite interesting to me. But anyway, we want to do horoscopy type stuff. We want to look at the future too. So anyway, I'm sorry. It's such a wild thing. And you could see signatures in it, and you could see sort of the connection back to that October eclipse. But this most recent one you've had in your 4th house. So you may see something. You've had a prelude to whatever this last eclipse was for you. But you may see over the next 6 months or so something really, good luck or something happen when it comes to your home and your living situation, maybe a rental issue or landlord issue or something to do with your parents. There could be a resolution of something having, some outstanding issue to do with your parents. And then when Jupiter goes into your 5th house in May here, in the middle of the month, this is a wonderful thing, this should be about having fun. It should be about you learning to have fun again. Excuse me. Because Saturn had been going through your 2nd house for a long time, which means likely you got used to scrimping, You got used to being frugal, probably used to saving. It's like, there's not enough right now, and we got to save. Right? And now Saturn has gone out of your 2nd house and has entered your 3rd, which has its own set of challenges, but it should feel like now that there's a little bit of pressure off from the material resources side, And if that is the case, then it's time to start learning to have fun again and to start not being carefree and careless, but, now you have the responsible side probably built up a little bit more after having to face difficulties in your material situation. So hopefully you can use the next year here, because this is wonderful. Jupiter's going to be here for you for about a year. And this should be a time when you start enjoying yourself again. It could be, again, through having... The 5th house is also sex, right? And romance. But it could be games, sports, expression. For me, I have a 5th house sun, and, for me, it's performance in different ways, But things that bring you alive. And if you have children, this is also a good luck period for your children. So, but I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm so sorry. Where is your moon? Natally Virgo. Conjunct Mars. Because with sudden deaths, you expect something to do with Mars or a Mars transit. Excuse me. Mars was going through your 7th house, and that's a very astute thing you said. And Mars isn't happy. in Cancer either. So Mars rules your 4th house and your 11th house. There we go. So, there's a tie there between the friendship partnership thing, because Mars also rules your 11th house. So anyway, but the most important thing is whatever meaning you can draw out of this for yourself. I don't know the nature of your relationship. But I know a little bit about relationships in general because I have had terrible luck, and I've been through death more times than I care to admit. And I don't know, again, how you left things together, but I can only tell you that looking backward never, ever, ever helps. And I've held on to a lot of guilt in my life. And I've held on to a lot of painful memories and things that I just would rather have let go of. And you can't just let go of that stuff that quickly. But I can tell you, the most important thing is resolving those things in yourself and letting yourself just fall to pieces sometimes. Because when we try too hard to be stoic, we avoid feeling emotions and avoid feeling things. And that's the whole thing about processing. That's the whole 8th house lesson. The 8th house is often about fear and the things we don't see about ourselves. And that's where we process those blind spots. The 8th house is one of those houses. Oops, ouch. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. The 8th house is one of those houses that's in aversion, meaning it's not making a classical aspect. Right? It's not making an aspect here to the 1st house. You could say, oh, that's a quincunx or whatever. Well, they didn't have classical quincunxes or inconjuncts or semi-squares or sesquiquadrates or, quintiles and biquintiles and noviles and septiles and binoviles. Everything else. But it's one of those houses that isn't seen. So it's stuff that's hidden from us. And it's it's the things that we hide from ourselves oftentimes, psychologically. Sorry, I had to turn that down. It's the things that we hide from ourselves psychologically often. And we face those things by letting ourselves feel them and fall to fucking pieces, and let ourselves be shattered. And that's the Pluto experience too. And just as Pluto went retrograde, he went retrograde on the 1st, but still it's quite interesting, right around all this. But that's the Plutonic experience or the Plutonian experience of just letting yourself be shattered. And we have very little control over just about everything in our lives. I always say 99% of life just happens. It's fated. And you can read it in the chart. But the 1% of life that matters, the 1% you can control and learn to control over time, the 1% that's our superpower is the ability to direct our attention. That is the one thing we can control. And that is the saving grace of all existence, is the ability to learn to direct attention. Because it's by using the attention that you can really investigate the nature of your own consciousness. And that is the mystery of all existence. And really everything else beyond that is a big distraction. But we're human and we live in the world. And I've lost lots of people. And it sucks. And I know I'm not doing a very good job of being empathetic. Well, I'm empathizing in my own air sign way, but I know I'm not being very sensitive right now. I'm sorry. I should be more Cancer Venus-y. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that we can rest in the memories of people, but when we hold on to ideas about them, when we hold on to regrets and all these sorts of things, we are giving away our thought energy to imagination, to things that don't exist. And it's much, and I'm going on way too much about this, but you just reminded me because my dad passed away. And It was 20 years ago, but still. He unalived himself, right? And I talk about this a lot because it was an important event to me, but the memories of that, anyway, there were a lot of regrets around that, I mean, me included. We didn't see eye to eye towards the end. But the important thing about the memories of it all, the influence, right? The influence that he had on my life. That was the important part, and who knows what happened to him after he died. We can speculate and muse on all that sort of stuff. But the most important thing about the memories is the quality of it all, and it's the influence that they had. They are not holding grudges now. I'm pretty sure they're not sitting somewhere if consciousness persists after death. I seriously doubt they're sitting somewhere saying like, how I really hope they're suffering over that stuff that they did to me when I was alive. Oh my goodness. I seriously doubt they're doing that. And since they're not doing that, and most likely not doing that, then we are probably wasting energy worrying about the past. And I think I'm just preaching to myself right now because you probably don't do any of that. But I just thought it was worth saying, just a lot of us have been going through death lately. So, and it's really important because that's what astrology is all about anyway. It's about facing our fate. It's not about, and I say this all the time, so I'm just repeating myself, but it's about learning to face our fate. So let's move on to someone else. Oops. You loved him as a friend. You was his own true love, but yeah. No regrets. My air sign way. Sorry. You actually love me? Like you're in love with me? Because I get that sometimes too. Kirk the jerk? Kirk the jerk. You have bad luck with relationships. Yeah, well, Don't we all? Don't we all? Well, the condition of your moon, moon's conjunct Mars, The moon rules your 7th house. So it's going to say a lot about your relationships. And you're going to be attracted either to foreign type men or people, whoever you're attracted to. Foreign type people or deep people who are philosophical, people who are maybe very idealistic or ideological. You're probably attracted to passionate people and passionate about their worldview, about what they believe, or about religion or spirituality or politics, or they might just be from a different culture than you, something that you find exotic. And that's what attracts you to them. And that Mars rules your 11th house of friendship, of course, and the fact that they're together, it would signify to me that those two things are important to you and a partner. So now, Mars is also your out of sect malefic. So he doesn't like your chart. And he's extra difficult for you. So, some of these big Mars transits will they'll bring difficult events for you, just like Saturn transits bring them for me, or for any night baby, and Mars transits for any day baby, So we all have our lot in life. Now, it was going through your 7th house, so that's, that's quite, you called it in the beginning. You already said Mars in your 7th house and, your ex or your partner, ex-partner. And then Mars isn't happy, of course. But let's move on to someone else. So, but there's a lot going on. And getting featured on this podcast for your business, I am no one to write home about. I'm just trying to get this going. I'm lucky if we have 10 people on here. We probably don't even have that. And at this point, I'm just doing this for fun for the fun people who come on here pretty frequently. But I am trying to make this a thing. So anyway, who's next? Who's next? If you want to view paradise. Oh, it's Sean. Shan or Sean? Are you still here? If you view paradise, Simply look around and view it. Anything you want to view it. To change the world. There's nothing to it. Are you still here? Poughkeepsie? Where the hell's Poughkeepsie? Poughkeepsie, New York. I gotta put this down, so my sound's gonna suck for a second. I'm like, I'm mouthing the. Can I get in trouble for that? Like, suggestively talking into the microphone. Hello. Oh, this is the. Oh, this is where I should talk from. Hello. I'm having too much fun. Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie. Are you still here, Shan? Shan, Sean. Shan, Sean. Poughkeepsie. Oh, stay there, microphone. Poughkeepsie. Am I saying that right? Poughkeepsie. Pooh. Pooh. Is that a real place, or did you just make that up? Well, I guess it's a real place because it's in here. It's in here. I hope you're still here and I didn't just waste all that time. Oh, you are still here. Good. Oh, you have to go? Oh, I'm so sorry, Rateus. I'm so sorry, darling. Have a wonderful night. I will miss you. I will miss you. I will miss you. Okay, Shan. 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 I'll tell you what. Okay. You're Aquarius rising like me, baby. I almost called you baby girl, but I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I don't know your gender. Baby darling. I don't know your gender, so I say baby darling. Aquarius rising like me. 14 degrees Aquarius. Well, so you just came out of that whole Saturn in your first house bit like I did. You're probably a lot different, aren't you? You're a lot different. Oh, you were born in 1999. So young. So you are 24? Wait, how old would that make you? 24? Almost 24, I think. How dare thee? You've wrote home about me. Oh, I missed that part. How dare you have written home about me? Oh, you're 23. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, you're 23. You're not 24 yet. Oh, Nina, you were so next? I'm sorry. Wait, I thought Sean was first. I thought Sean was first on here. Yeah, Sean was first on here. Where's your stuff, Nina? Anyway, well, we'll get to you in a little bit, Nina. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. You got really skinny. I mean, that does happen to us, but we also tend to get pretty morose and morbid. I mean, we go through big changes in general. I mean, I wish I got more skinny. I have a crappy belly right now that's cramping my style, but stop, phone. But the other thing too is, we contemplate our own death and our own mortality and all this stuff starts to get real, like really real to us. So we start to feel older. I mean, you're still quite young, but I mean, you might feel that you've matured quite a bit. You're still way off your Saturn return. In fact, your Saturn is square your ascendant. I have Saturn square my ascendant too. It's quite interesting. It really messes with our confidence. You probably don't have any. It's very hard to have self-confidence, And the ruler of your first house is in the fourth. It's an angular house, and it's Saturn retrograde. So you did not have a fun childhood, and Dad is probably not a very nice person. Dad, well, I don't know. I mean, home life was most likely very unstable. The fourth house ruler is Venus in Libra in the ninth house. So maybe there was something very pleasant about Dad. And it could be something about mom. Who knows? I don't know. But usually the fourth house is dad. Mom may have had a temper. Um, was something about mom excessive? Did she go to excess on things? Or was she larger than life about something or over the top about something? Something, something, something. Do you have siblings, my dear? Do you have siblings and are you close to them? You've been going through your Jupiter return. That's kind of cool, you know? The thing you might have noticed about Jupiter going through your third house is if you produce content or if you write or if you express or do any media, what happened? Why can't you see that anymore? I can just see it. What the hell? What the hell? Can you still see the chart? You're just Q jumping. Well, it doesn't look like you can see the chart anymore. Or can you? What is going on here? Why am I tripped out? I don't know if anyone could see. Saturn fourth house, you grew up in a religious household. Nothing unpleasant about it, okay. You were very poor. You grew up in a trailer park and you still live there to this day. Well, it doesn't seem like it was a problem because Jupiter rules your second house and he's in Aries retrograde in the third, but you see, Jupiter's not unhappy otherwise. So it's not like, it doesn't seem like it was a terrible experience, at least about the money thing. So, but Jupiter's retrograde too. So any good things that Jupiter does, because Jupiter also rules your 11th house like me. So your mom was crazy. She always was. Oh, she was always mad. Yeah. You just had some lunch. You have 5 siblings. Well, there's the Jupiter in the third house. Yeah. Excuse me. So, and yes, your dad is a bitch. Well, so now Saturn's going through our second houses. So I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel the frugality pitch. This is a small business venture that I'm doing. And, and it can be difficult making ends meet. So that may be where you're at right now. Why is this not showing up? Do you not see this chart? Like, am I stupid? What happened? What happened here? I'm going to delete this one. Yeah, you're going. Is this the same chart? Yeah. Okay, cool. That was tripping me out before. I'm like, why are you hiding my stuff? Now you're broke AF. Okay, you can see the chart now. Cool. So you're broke AF now. Excuse me. Well, Jupiter rules your second house, so things that Jupiter does. You also have Jupiter retrograde. You're still quite young, though. And the thing about these retrogrades, especially with benefics, is any good stuff that they do doesn't come till much later in life, right? So, you have Chiron in the 11th. We got to move on to someone else's stuff here because I don't want to spend too much time. But, when you have Chiron in the 11th house like that, there's often an experience of being, either bullied or left out or lonely or, made fun of. It's like, I always call it like being the last kid picked for dodgeball. Excuse me. Which can be quite, not fun for friends and all that. So as you get older, you don't trust people as well, That's always the thing. So, but Coming up here, June to October, right? Early June to early October, Venus will be in our 7th house for a long time. So if you are interested in meeting someone, that's definitely the time to do it. So all your friends betray you, so yes, you're an outcast. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. I'm sure people always make a big deal about like Uranus and Neptune being in your first house, and you're probably like, why isn't she? Because I don't care. I guess it's kind of interesting that Uranus is conjunct your ascendant. That's interesting. I just don't treat the outer planets as rulers of anything. But yes. It will make you definitely a pain in the ass. Definitely a pain in the ass to deal with. Let's just say I wouldn't want you as my employee. Because you'd be fighting me on everything. I'd be like, stop it. Stop it. This is the way we're going to do it. You know what I mean? So, friends overestimated. Yeah, who's next? Is it Nina? The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. Do you from behind while they're drinking sangria? We did Shan, ZRE Music. ZRE Music. Kentucky. Are you still here, ZRE Music? Music makes me feel so good. Yeah. Are you still here, Mr. and Ms. Music? Music. It's the music. Music. Where is Mr. Music or Ms. Music? It's ZRE Music. I've heard of Dr. Dre, but not Dr. Zray. Dr. Zray Music. Well, I will assume they're gone. Oh, wait. Okay, wait. No, they're still here. Okay. So ZRE Music. Music makes me feel so good. Going back to ZRE. It's the ZRE. It's so funny because I keep thinking DRE. Because I'm from the 90s. Well, I mean, I grew up in the 90s. When Biggie was still alive. Well, he died when I was like in 7th grade, I think. Tupac and Biggie, I think they died when I was in 7th grade. And Kurt Cobain when I was in 6th grade. ZRE. And ZRE is a Gemini. Also in 1999. And it's 12:50 a.m. Fort Campbell, 12:50. I love having all these young folks on here who haven't gone through their Saturn returns yet, because I remember being 22, 23. I was 22 when I got my first like real reading with an esoteric astrologer. I was just starting to get involved in masonry, and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when it came to the occult and spirituality. And it was just such a magical time. And I've become so cynical. And part of me wishes I could sort of recapture the magic sometimes. So that's just a reminder to remember the magic. Because you can only forget it. You can only forget it. And you can only remember it. I don't know, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what it made sense in my stupid wackadoodle head. It's like, it's never gone, but you can always miss it, if that makes any sense. It's always there. Reality is always there. It's just our eyes get dull. Like St. Paul said, no, it was Jesus, right? In the Gospels, he said, they said, why do you speak to them in parables? And he said, because the heart of the people has grown dull, right? That with ears, they don't hear. With eyes, they don't see. And with hearts, they don't even understand, right? Which is interesting that he always equates the heart to understanding. That it's not just mind thinking. It's thought that passes through the heart, right? That is understanding or wisdom. So anyway, now I'm just preaching. Fort Campbell. Fort Campbell. This is, I mean, this whole spiritual thing is really what my background is more than astrology. I mean, I started with all this stuff when I was like 12. And astrology just happened to be there. Like, oh, okay, we'll use that now. And I mostly got into that because of Masonry, really. Kentucky. From Ballsack, Kentucky. Sorry. Oh, I'm just bitter right now at all the politics in the news. You know, and Kentucky's so pretty too. There's so many pretty places in Kentucky. It's the ZRE. Because I'm the Z. I don't slang or bang. I just smoke, mother. Like it ain't no thing. And all your bitches. I'm talking to you. I want to get too. That's from NWA. But, anyway. Pisces rising. Look at you. ZRE. So sweet, Pisces rising. They suffer so hard. They suffer so hard. They don't have to. It's just, the thing about Pisces rising is it sort of eclipses. But it's so weird how Pisces risings, there's something always that just bleeds out of them that makes them very Piscean regardless of all that air, And you do have a lot of air. You got an Aquarius moon. 12th house Aquarius moon. That's not fun. It's a tough one. I don't think you have children. So we won't worry about that. Excuse me. Oh, you're a Cancer Venus like me too. When you were young, I bet you. Well, you see Saturn in the third house. It often ends up being like this sense of intellectual inferiority when we're kids, Like we feel like everyone else is smarter than us and we're made to feel stupid. Or sometimes quite literally something interrupts our elementary school career, or primary school in general. That includes high school and middle school, but something intervenes and we get sort of taken out of our school career somehow. Or we get homeschooled, or, something isolates us in that sort of way. Or it could be very literal speech impediments or learning disabilities. We'll see autism spectrum disorders show up in the 12th, the 6th, and the 3rd house, in my experience. So I've seen that quite a bit. And I'm not saying you have that. I'm just saying it's sort of interesting. And you have, Saturn is square the moon. So we do see that with mental health issues. We do quite often, I mean, we'll see either depression or bipolar. And see, the moon is in the 12th house. And so that sort of lends itself once again to addiction and mental illness. So you just got to be careful, my darling. You got to be careful. Maybe mom had issues with those things. I don't know. But the fact that Saturn squared the moon too, because Saturn often indicates the father. So although I'm quick to jump to mom because it's the moon here in the 12th house, Saturn can often be, dad. And having the square between these two can show some sort of conflict. I mean, maybe they divorced or whatever. I don't know. But usually it's more of a significant conflict than just divorce. Because more than half of us go through divorce nowadays, right? So it's more significant than that. I think especially it lends itself to the mental health thing, though. So I hope let me go down. Oh, yeah, bipolar code. Oh, yeah, baby. I'm so sorry. Yes. Are you too late? Well, we're going to see, like the stream. If anyone here, everyone like the stream. Like the stream or there's going to be a problem. Like the stream. Like the stream. Like the stream. Like the stream. And subscribe if you haven't already. But yes, I'm so sorry, my darling. Cyber school and middle school. Oh, well, see, there you go. Yeah. Cyber school and middle school. Now, I hope money isn't a problem. I hope money isn't a problem. Well, actually, it might be. Never mind. I mentioned that because you have Jupiter in the second house, which is like, wow, okay, so money might be good. But Mars is opposing, and Mars rules the second house, right? You have Mars over here unhappy and about to go retrograde stationing. Retrograde for all intents and purposes. You have Jupiter opposite Mars like I do. It's a tough thing. You're probably a bit passive aggressive. Dude. Oh, I got to say goodnight to my daughter. That's what it is. I set this alarm for myself when I'm on stream. And I'm just going to text my daughter. Good night, baby. I love you! ! Anyway, I have to do that. She's such a sweet darling. Oftentimes she texts me first. You're here. What does that mean, you're here? Oh, you're not here. It's like Scream almost, like, I'm in your house. It's like, wait, aren't you at your mom's? Aren't you at your mom's? I love you! ! Okay. I was scared for us. She's like, I'm here. And I'm like, you're here? Where? Like, no, she's there, like available. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Opposite Jupiter. First of all, we can be a bit blowhard. I was saying you're a bit passive aggressive, most likely, and you probably have a tendency to overspend. Maybe you get into debt. Maybe you have a problem with debt. But there are money issues here. There are definitely money issues here. Money issues here. You're quite sexual, though, probably. With Venus in the 5th house. And square Jupiter. So, yeah, you can be quite sexual. But sensitive. You get attached. Anyway, so now you've got Saturn going, go, haha, not scream. Liked and subscribed. Thank you, my darling. Thank you so much. Money ain't no thing? Okay, cool. Money ain't no thing. Cool. Well, just watch out with spending habits and racking up debt, because that could be a problem. Or spending too much money on the things that are sort of thwarting your opportunities or causing you problems in life. Your North Node's in the 6th house. So, overcoming difficulties is sort of your life motif. Saturn going through your 1st house for the next few years is going to test you. It's going to change your whole experience of yourself, most likely. It's going to take you apart and put you back together. So, usually after these things, we don't feel like we're the same anymore. I came out as trans while mine was happening, almost as soon as I went into Aquarius, I started having to face this stuff again, I used to tell my ex-wife, like, oh, it was a past life thing. I'm over it. It was a past life thing. I'm over it. But you see, that's the spiritual nonsense that we put on ourselves. Like, oh, karma and past lives. Like, let yourself live. You don't have to fit your experience into a box. Let yourself be. Let yourself live. You don't have to explain everything. And that's the problem. That's why mind is the goddamn problem. Because we feel like we have to, because mind has to justify its own fucking existence. Because what we call ourselves is a figment of our fucking imaginations, you see? So, but that's a whole other thing. But that's the crux of all this too. It's what the Buddha was trying to tell us with anatta, So anyway, but that's just me preaching again. The only reason I mention that is because you have your identity deconstructed as Saturn goes through your first house. And you may be doing that where you start contemplating your own mortality, you know, your own mortality. And it's an important time. It's a really important time because even though it can be sort of depressing, it teaches us a lot about ourselves. And it makes us mature. We grow up a little bit. You know, oftentimes there's, you know, this sense of childhood. Even for me, I went through it, you know, at age 36, 37. And I was still immature, you know, in lots of ways. I'd just come out of a divorce a couple years before or whatever. I'd just been dating and stuff, and I just didn't realize the stuff I hadn't dealt with. It was like a big iceberg. So anyway, I'm just mentioning all this stuff because expect the unexpected. I mean, expect dead things to rise again and to have to face parts of yourself that are inconvenient to face. Because believe me, this was definitely an inconvenience. So a wonderful inconvenience, but still not part of my plan. Not part of my plan. But psychology and the universe and everything else, they force us into different plans, don't they? So anyway, but just to finish up with some transits here. We talked about transit, but you know, the eclipse cycle now has gone from your 3rd and 9th house, which is all about reflection and reflecting on how you did and what you manifested, you know, probably in 2021. If you did in fact manifest anything since December of 2021, from then till, I don't know, like April or May, likely may have been about changing jobs, you know, starting a new job or finding a job or getting your feet wet or starting a career or something like that. And then 2022, it's about reflecting on all that. Like, okay, what's really happened here? How did I get here? And now you're in the phase where your material resources are going to take precedent. So maybe you're going to get luck here with your material resources. Things might start panning out. You might start seeing your livelihood or something you've been working on, a project, come to fruition. You know, this is sort of like the harvest phase, right? Like the reaping phase kind of thing. You know, what have you gained out of all this sort of stuff? Now, you could have actually gained or you could have lost. This is where you realize gains and losses, consequences, right? The 2nd and 8th house are about gains and losses. You could think about gambling or the stock market. That's a better thing. Finance. We talk in terms of gains and loss, right? Your balance sheet. You could think of the 2nd and 8th house as sort of like your balance sheet. And the 2nd house is sort of like your gains, and the 8th house is sort of like your losses. But you can get gains in the 8th house too, right? It's other people's, right? It's the difference is it's not necessarily yours, or that it doesn't get generated from you as the source. Here, this is the best sounding, right? Like this. But then I hide my pretty mouth. Oh, no. Not my pretty mouth. And this is okay like this. So anyway, but you have Mars in the 8th house already, and Mars is unhappy. So loss is a big part of your life. I mean, maybe death or maybe sudden deaths or something like that. Mars rules your 2nd house, but also your 9th house. You probably had a bad experience of religion growing up. I'd imagine you did. Bad experience of religion. Oh, gosh. I'm going to leave it there. Ugh. I feel like I have to say something. If you do have children, and it looks like you may, Just being one of them may have depression issues that you have to deal with. Some sort of I mean, it could be depression, or it even could be, um, some sort of neurodivergence. It could be some sort of neurodivergence. That's not set in stone. It's just like, it's something that I see every once in a while, and I just feel like ethically I have to say something. So, and that's not definite. It's just a possibility. That's like, these is one permutation of these things. Your kid could just be shy or something like that. Who knows? Because 12th house is like a sense of exile, but it's also where we find, our mental issues, addiction issues included, but also neurodivergence. We can also see neurodivergence there. Fifth house is the moon. Oh, and the 8th house ruler is Venus. Well, it could be a miscarriage too. It could be a miscarriage at some point. So, is the moon? Yes, it's the moon I'm looking at. Yeah. Well, the moon rules the 5th house, and the moon's in the 12th. Mars rules. Sorry. I was looking at also Venus rules the 8th house of difficult things, and is placed in the 5th, which is what I mean. A lot of times I think of miscarriages with that sort of thing, but anyway, all other stuff. The most important thing here is the eclipses. Oh, you have had a miscarriage. Okay, well, see, there you go. It doesn't always have to be that, but it is often that. So, see, this is why I get nervous, because sometimes, like, you feel like you have to ethically say something, and then sometimes you freak people out. But it's like that's why you have to know tact. You have to know tact. Luckily, I worked for 20 years in customer service, so I think I have a little bit of tact, even though I'm a bitch. So yeah, we can see things like miscarriages quite a bit. I mean, the 8th house ruler, just as a little rule of thumb, you can look at the 8th house ruler and oftentimes tell a little bit about painful experiences in someone's life pertaining to death or loss. So that can tell you a lot. Better prepare for it. Oh, that's the pipes. Better prepare for what? Well, I mean, think about this, okay? Jupiter's going to go into your 3rd house, where you typically have Saturn. That's going to make you a busy bee. This is going to be a wonderful year of your life. The eclipse, right? You just had it in your 2nd house in April, okay? And it was conjunct your natal Jupiter, right? Jupiter in transit during this eclipse, if you recall, was at 23 degrees Aries. Excuse me, conjunct your natal Jupiter. So this was your Jupiter return you were having. This is a very auspicious time for you. And that eclipse in your 2nd house, it should sort of bode well for your money situation, whatever that is. So maybe something starts to pay off. Maybe you see a project or a small business venture come to fruition a little bit. But I think this is a good event for you. And then the opposite sign, Libra, right? When that eclipse happens in October, excuse me, it could help. It's big beginnings and endings, and it could be a death situation. That's the worst case scenario. But it could also have something to do with your own debt. It could have to do with what you owe, or it could be income that comes from a source that isn't yours, is perhaps unearned income. That's why you'll see returns on investment. And yes, you don't earn returns on investment. You get them, right? You're not working for them. So we call it unearned income. It's unearned income. You didn't earn it. You just invested and reaped, the investment. So that's eighth house stuff. Not that that's wrong or bad, but it's eighth house stuff. It's not stuff that you did. So make the money work for me, right? The money works for me. Anyway, so I think that's a good thing. The eclipse in October, though, I'm a bit more ambiguous about. It could go either way. There could be a significant expense that you have to deal with you weren't counting on. There could be an unexpected, loss you weren't counting on that happens over the next, between October and next April. But on the positive side, it could be getting yourself out of one of those situations, out of a debt situation. It could be paying something off. It could be having it written down. It could be getting a tax refund. It could be some sort of ease on your financial burden in some way. So anyway, I should move on to someone else. I really should. Around the time of your Mars return? What was around the time of your Mars return? Oh. When stuff happened. Oh, see, I was getting confused by different people's messages. I was getting mixed messages. Shush, Alicia, cause I have. Okay. Who was next? Was it? Excuse me. Nina. Was it Nina? The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. Was it Nina? Or who was after ZRE? There's ZRE. Ollie G. We did Ollie G. Alicia. Alicia, are you still here? Alicia, are you still here? Do I have Alicia in here? I do have Alicia in here. Oh, wait. Don't let my ADHD get me. Okay, Alicia. Oh, wait, this is Alicia's daughter. I'll do Alicia's daughter really quick. Daughter. Alicia daughter. Age 18, 10. 13:34 p.m. I think you mean 1:34 p.m. Alicia, there isn't a 13:34 p.m. There's a 1:34 p.m., which is often referred to as 13:34. Is that what you mean? I will put that in just in case. 1:34 p.m. Because I don't know what 13:34 p.m. is. I have Taurus Mercury. I'm very literally minded. Like, you have to spell it. My ex-wife hated it. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, are you kidding me? Do I really have to spell it out? I'm like, yeah, you really have to spell it out. Like, 1, 2, 3. I know that sounds exhausting, but some people like me, believe it or not. Some people actually like me. Charlevoix. So let's see if you were saying anything, Alicia. Alicia, are you still here? Alicia, are you here? Are you here, Alicia? You just sent a donation through PayPal. Thank you, my sweet. Whitney. Thank you, Whitney. You are such a darling. Are you here, Alicia? Otherwise, we'll move on. Oh, Alicia, you got the copy and paste. Stop. All the voices in my head. I don't really have voices in my head. Just my own voice. What the heck? Okay, so Alicia, we will put you on hold and we will move on to someone else. We will move on to someone else. Move on to someone else. Whitney. You were wondering if there was any way you could take a look at your transits and see if there's anything may indicate a new career. Okay. Whitney. Whitney. Where's your information, Whitney? Do we have your information up, my darling? Let me look for your information. For your information. For your information. Whitney, Whitney, Whitney. Whitney. Whitney, Whitney. I don't see your stuff. I don't see your stuff. I don't see your information. That's the hard thing about this is finding people's information. Oh, okay. It looked like Sulphur Land at first. Sulphur Land. Lake Charles. Have I done your chart before? I think I have. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. About job stuff. Let me find your question. Let me find your question. You were wondering if there's any way transits indicate a job thing tomorrow. Game changer your kids. I give the best readings. Well, thank you. I think so too. And getting a reading. Oh, yeah. Thank you. She was just saying about how phenomenal my readings are, and she's right. They are. They are. So anyway, well, let's think about what's going on here. I want to look at the bi-whale. I want to look at the bi-whale. The bi-whale. Find the bi-whale. Find the bi-whale. I guess this is for tomorrow, isn't it? So we don't have to do this whole animation nonsense. Let me do this. Now. It's a chart for now. It's a chart for now. Oh, wait, no. Edit. How much time is wasted in this? This is where all my friends who did the Lean Six Sigma bullshit, you know, where I'm like, okay, I get it. Efficiency. I get efficiency. I mean, I need to get efficiency. I need to learn efficiency because I am very inefficient. So this is tomorrow. Your 10th house ruler is Mercury. So we'll typically look, you know, for Mercury doing things when it comes to your career situation, or at least getting recognition, which oftentimes that's what the job is. So Mercury right now is retrograde until what? What was it? The 21st? Where's my little notes? I can't remember when Mercury goes direct again. Where's my notes? Word. Okay. Mercury goes direct on the 14th. So we got a little ways away, but I guess the point of what I'm saying here is Mercury is relatively close to your sun here. which I think is sort of, see, Mercury is retrograde, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just that things could get delayed. So if you do get the job, it could be delayed in finding out, you know? Excuse me. It could just be a frustrating process in terms of like finding out if you got it or not. The fact that, Mercury is pretty close to Jupiter and the sun here, I think is sort of nice. Who else is doing things? Is anyone else doing things? I guess Mercury is sextile Saturn. Mercury is sextile Saturn, which could be good. Because it's a sextile, a little bit nicer. But that could be disciplining Mercury a little bit. It could be. I don't see anything bad. I'm looking for some other things. I would typically look at the 10th house ruler and what it's doing first, or maybe if anything's aspecting the natal 10th house ruler, which you have Mercury in Taurus, also like me. I think it's sort of interesting that first of all, do you work in the service industry or the medical profession at all? I think it's interesting that your Mercury's back in Taurus, or Mercury's back in Taurus, where your natal Mercury is this is kind of coming up. So now you might be super nervous tomorrow when it comes to your interview because Mercury is retrograde. You just want to have all your stuff organized. You want to have notes. You want to bring a pad of paper, obviously, with you, and you want to write all the questions down because you'll forget. I don't know what kind of interview it is, but just expect Mercury retrograde, expect Mercury retrograde stuff, which is miscommunications, misdirections, mistakes, misunderstandings, all these sorts of things. So just be ready for an interview that's going to have some of that stuff. So you're going to want to arrive early. You might have traffic, right? You may have who knows what, but stuff that intervenes with your travel to the interview. So leave early. These are Mercury retrograde things. So leave early. I don't know. Are there any big things that would lend itself to that? Saturn's going through your 4th house. You had the eclipse in your 5th. The eclipses have been going between your 6th and your 12th. So you're coming out of your cocoon phase now, hopefully joining us, in the rest of the world in Summerland, where we're going to start to enjoy ourselves again. I really think that's been an important thing. I think that's going to be an important thing in your life moving on. And as Jupiter goes into your 6th house, it's all about, it's about responsibility, but in a good way. It's taking care of business. It's taking care of the things that we've been avoiding. It's doing what you got to do. Again, it's stuff that we've been avoiding. It's not necessarily fun, but Jupiter makes it so we have the drive to do it. And this is going to be a year of straightening your shit out. So see, when you have your 1st house ruler in the 6th house, it's just, life is difficult in general. I mean, either it makes you the enemy, it makes people sort of not like you in general. It, makes you the scapegoat type, or you just have to face incredible odds with things. You're always facing an uphill battle. So, excuse me. Mercury also rules your 7th house, though, too. So, just be aware that you do have a tendency probably towards difficult relationships, maybe where your partners become your enemy afterwards. You've probably been divorced already. So, oh, wait. 1988. What am I looking at here? Oh, wait. No, this is you. Yeah. Okay. I'm confused all of a sudden. What am I doing? What am I doing? Out here in the middle of the desert.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold. I remember saying something like, I feel a bit lightheaded. Maybe you should drive.
Your question, please. I'm going in order, Rev T. What was your question? When will you get a job? Next week. I don't know, my sweet. I don't know. I'm going in order. I'm going in order, sweetheart. Make sure you have gas and your tires are low. Exactly. Rev T, I have an order here of answering people, okay? So please, 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 I love you. Don't worry. So anyway, Whitney, as far as the job stuff, it looks, I mean, it doesn't look bad. I don't see anything bad about it. But there may be delays in finding out. I think that's the big thing I see. I think I see delays in finding out. Wait, where are you? Wait, this would be a career change. You are in the service industry right now, but this is for an admin assistant, so you're pretty nervous. Excuse me. Well, think about it like this. Because I think of a lot of admin stuff as encompassing the 3rd and 8th house. Like in terms of payroll and budgeting and stuff like that, the 8th house. In terms of, you know, the writing and speaking and stuff that you have to do. That's really 3rd house type stuff. You know that you are sort of you know that you're good at that. Right? You got Mars in the 3rd house in Aquarius. You know, I mean, you probably need to slow down and think sometimes, but you know, you have that in you. And then this 3rd house ruler is Saturn, and Saturn's retrograde, but still, he's at home in Capricorn. You know, so probably an effective communicator. Now, you probably grew up poor also, or at least with a sense of lack, but things maybe started to improve as you got older. Anyway, I don't see anything bad with the job thing. I just see possible delays and miscommunications and things like that. So, anyway, I guess that's what I see. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you would have, well, no. The next eclipse cycle will go into your 4th and 10th house. So that might be a time when things come to fruition, really. Anyway, that's a whole other thing, though. Well. I was, it's a whole other thing. I shouldn't do that. But I will. Just really quick. Do I see anything? Not really. Just peaking progressions. But no. Nothing's really come up. Okay. Let's move on to someone else. Oh, do we do Molly? Molly Price, do we do you? Did we do you, Molly? Molly? Molly, did we do you? Because I got confused earlier. I meant to do you earlier, Molly. I'm sorry. I got confused. Where is your stuff? Molly. Molly was supposed to be my name. I was supposed to be a girl, which is funny because my mom hates the fact that I'm trans. But she told me when I was younger, she's like, oh, your name was going to be Molly. Wait, what's wrong with my mouse? Oh, my actual gods, hold the mic close. Where is Molly's information? I don't see her. This is why I spend my time doing all this, looking for people's information. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, there we go. Molly Price. Any relation to Vincent? Vincent Price. Molly, Molly, Molly. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. 1104, 1979. Shakedown, 1979. Oh, kids never have the time. On a live walk right up off the street, you and I should meet. June bug skipping like a stone, with the headlights pointed at the dawn. Wait, Molly, you're a Leo rising? I thought you were a Cap rising. 10 a.m. With the headlights pointed at the dawn. Excuse me. That sounded terrible. We were sure we'd never see an end to it all. And I don't even care to shake these zipper blues. Okay. Ooh, Taurus moon, look at you. Conjunct Chiron in the 5th house. There was some difficulty around giving birth or having a child. Some difficulty. Either wanting children and couldn't, or maybe C-sections, or worst case, miscarriages. Or maybe you just didn't want kids, and then you had to have them. Or had to have them too young, maybe. Anyway, that's something those are scenarios I often see. Oops. I got to be able to see what I'm seeing. There we go. 10:34 a.m. Right? Yeah. So I got it. My dad used to tell me that I was related to. Oh. I'm getting messages kind of late. Well, you know. I know, it's so funny. Like, I was purposefully, alone for a long time. And I just started getting on dating apps again. And yay. It's fun. I'm not going to make the same mistakes. I'm not making the same mistakes. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. 1,000 points away. None of you will probably remember George H.W. Bush. Molly will remember George H.W. Bush. Read my lips. No new taxes. Mr. Hussein. Oh, gosh. None of you remember the older Bush, None of you remember the older Bush. Soon, none of you will even remember George W. Bush. It's so funny. So funny. Anyway, gosh, I'm such a Saturn girl. Like, remember in my day, 10 years ago, like I'm turning 40. So also, well, this is dubious because you have Jupiter. You have Jupiter in the ninth house, but you also have Saturn in the ninth house. Now, Jupiter's unhappy in Virgo because he rules Pisces. So I would think that you had a bad experience of religion growing up. I would think that you've become quite incredulous, or you did maybe as a kid. Well, Jupiter's not very incredulous, though. I mean, you were still probably sort of, spiritual or what. I'm not in a derogatory way. You know what I'm saying? Like interested in sort of new agey things or whatever, But something happened to dissuade you from classical religion probably as a kid, because that's what Saturn does in the ninth house. I have Saturn in the ninth house. It can make us very sort of like scientific and, call bullshit on everything and everyone, as I do, and not believe anyone, which I typically don't. So, but the other thing it does is it gives us this wound around meaning. It's like the veil gets uncovered when we're kids. We're like, ugh, and we see how the religious sausage is made, and we just get put off from it. Like I left the Catholic Church at 12. I wouldn't get confirmed. But then we have this hole in our hearts for meaning that can only be filled with meaning. But we don't accept anyone else's ideas about things, and we shouldn't. We have bullshit meters. And so we go on a quest of our own to find our own meaning, to find what's meaningful to us. And so that often leads us into religions that our parents don't belong to and stuff like that, or being very scientific or whatever. You'll see atheists with Saturn in the ninth house, but you also see, astrologers or, guru types and shit like that. So you may be all of the above. You're only a couple of years older than me. So, we're hitting our 40s. We're at that stage in life where we've been around the block at least once or twice. And we've seen a bit more of what we're capable of, So. Oh, another Cap rising with Saturn in the ninth house. So, you kind of have a situation that I have too. Saturn in the ninth house, and it rules your rising sign. So this whole religious spiritual thing is probably the big motif of your life. This is sort of a similar configuration to me. And I can tell you unequivocally that I need, like my one need in life overwhelmingly is to understand existence and consciousness. So, and I think you could probably relate to that with your first house ruler in the ninth house. It's this need to unravel, to understand and unravel the way we exist. It's the deep questions in life. Like, why are we here? Is there a God? Is there free will? And the thing you have to realize over time is that everything's interdependent and you can't have one without the other. So when we get to that point of losing God, well, you can't have not God without God, can you? So, I'm rolling off into intellectual fun land, but it's important to see that sort of that dissonance or that division or dichotomy between Saturn and Jupiter in the ninth house. It's funny, it's the sun who rejoices there, right? But you think about the ninth house with all these Jupiterian things, but it's really the house of the sun. I think that's why Saturn in the ninth house gets relegated to non-believers, because the ninth house is the house of God, and having Saturn, the opponent of God, in God's house is sort of like negating God, isn't it? So it's said about ninth house Saturn people like us that we're hated by gods and emperors, especially in a night chart, but you have a day chart, so you're good. People probably like you. Or you're a priestess type. You have a shamanic vibe, perhaps. You never get this about me. You went to Catholic school from kindergarten to ninth grade. You don't go to church, but you still like it if you go. You like the ritual. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you're eclectic. That's the word. When I was doing, ooh, that's the word, eclectic. Eclectic. Oh, that was your favorite thing, to pick a new name for confirmation. You didn't care about the rest. Yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't do confirmation. In a way, I picked my name to be my name. Everyone always called me Frankie growing up. And my birth name was Frank Patrick Lynch the Fourth. That was a very, oops, what was that? Did this go off? No? Oops. And that was a very sort of like proper, formal thing, but everyone called me Frankie. And all I did was change my name back to Frankie. So anyway, so I guess the point of that is that I did do my own sort of confirmation. But I love the Catholic ritual. I do. I still enjoy Mass, even though I hate the church. But yes, the child part of me still has a soft spot for Mass. I could not do the changes that they did in the 90s or whatever. It was too much for me. And also with your spirit. The Lord be with you. And also with you. No. And with your spirit. I can't do all that stuff. I can't. Anyway. But we should move on to someone else. Oh, well, Molly. No, we were talking about death and stuff too, weren't we? Oh, fancy. Oh, fancy, fancy, fancy. Oh, fancy. Holy music hits so much. Well, I mean, it depends on what you're calling holy music. If you're referring to evangelical rock, no. Please, no. Please, no. No evangelical rock. That's not. It'll put holes in my head. This is what the holy. If you're talking about Buddhist chants, if anyone gets a chance, listen to the Gyoto. Is it Gyoto or Gyuto? Is it the Gyuto monks? The Gyuto monks, Tibetan monks. They have wonderful, wonderful chanting you can find on YouTube. You cry every time you go now. It's so seldom. Yeah, I do. I cry too. But making me cry is like shooting fish in a barrel. I have a Cancer Venus. Like, making me cry is very, very easy. It's not hard to do. So, but yes, I do get emotional too in Mass. Yeah. I remember all my childhood traumas, and I'm like, oh, wash away the sins, Daddy, please. By the way, if you're watching this right now, all of your sins will be forgiven. Nomine Patri et Filii Spiritus Sancti. You hate that whole house, outs, all planets in my 12th. Well, I mean, the 12th house isn't fun, obviously. You got ADHD, I'm sure. But you might have something to do with working with people's pain and pain and suffering somehow. Somehow you engage with people's pain and suffering. I don't know. Thanks you for God has a checkered relationship with me, I think. It's so funny because I say, the Buddhist thing about anatta is that there's no self, which means ultimately there's no God. Because the notion of God is the supreme self, the supreme soul. Right? And we can get into the logic of that some other time, but it's really quite interesting and quite simple. But there's a reality about God too. You see? Especially in certain contexts. And what we mean about absolute and about God and about reality and all these sorts of things, they really start to mean a lot different. They start to carry a lot different sort of weight the more and more we press into things. Like, if you're not penetrating into the unknown, that you're not really doing anything. You're just playing around. So you get all the crazies from your dreams. Your dreams are so powerful. Dreams so real. I make all that I believe. Oh, you're a full moon baby. Well, there you go. Full moon baby. Full moon baby. Full moon, baby. Moon square Mars. Maybe mommy was a bit difficult. Bad temper. Bad temper. Bad temper. Oh, excuse me. We should move on to someone else, though. But full moon, baby. Oh, full moon, baby. Well, and the sun rules your 8th house. Sun rules your 8th house of all those fun hidden things. And the moon rules your 7th house. Well, you probably want a fun sexual partner, don't you? You want someone who's good with kids and can enjoy life with you, you know, joke around, laugh, keep up with your sex drive, perhaps. So, yes, you. Oh, yeah, we should go to who's next. Who's next? And just mind you, I've been on now for almost 2 hours. So, 2 hours. 2 hours. But we're doing this again tomorrow. We're doing this again tomorrow. And donations are welcome again tomorrow. And maybe we'll have more to talk about. Well, no, I mean, we'll just do fucking charts probably, but we got some big transits coming up too. And of course, we've had some big financial stuff going on with First National Bank, which most of you probably haven't heard about or care about, but it's a big deal. And we have people keep telling me not to worry about the banking sector right now, but I am worried about it. And I'm worried about Janet Yellen's, or was it Janet Yellen? Did Janet Yellen say it or Jerome Powell say it? I think Janet Yellen was the one saying it. Jerome Powell should be the Fed chairperson right now, but Janet Yellen was saying that we could default as soon as June 1st. So, and by default, I mean the United States defaulting on its debt, which is really scary. It's really scary. Really scary. I'm looking for whoever's next. I'm just scrolling right now. I'm just scrolling. There was Whitney. There was Nina. That's who it was. It was Nina. Nina. Have I done Ninas before? The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Oh, and it's, see, there's no 18th month. It's 10/18. See, this is what the Americans have to remember. Americans have to remember that the rest of the world puts the day before the month. The rest of the world, not Americans. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. That was David Bowie. With Trent Reznor, actually. David Bowie with Trent Reznor. Two of my heroes. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. I'm typing one-handed. Scotland. Okay. That's an accent that I have trouble with. I can never understand what Scottish people are saying. I've got at least, I think 5 clients from Scotland. 5. One of them who I've seen multiple times, and she's such a sweetheart. Actually, a couple of them I've seen multiple times. Excuse me. Cancer rising. Well, having your Jupiter return quick here. Well, Jupiter's entering Taurus, right? Your 11th house, and you have Jupiter natally in Taurus. So it'll be a year of this. This is also an enjoyable place to have Jupiter. Jupiter's coming out of your 10th house, which is all about, getting recognition and achievement, or, reaching having something come into fruition, right? You bring something into being. But when Jupiter goes into the 11th house, then it's about the dream again. It's about having aspirations and goals once again. It's looking forward. Then, okay, we've done something now. What else is there? But then it's also the people in your life that can help you out, right? The people who, you know, pick you up when you're in a jam, or who give you a good idea when you don't have one, or, you find a job opportunity through a friend of yours, or someone sees something you've done, like, oh, wow, that's really good. You should do that. Like, let me help you. A good example today, I had one of my good friends over here helping me work on my business stuff over here. Although now I think because I have all my stuff out here, which was my living room, and now it's good. It's just the echo. I feel like I'm a bat, and I'm like locating myself in a cave. Oh, or like a whale. Or no, what? Dolphins. It's not a dolphin. I'm just making shit up, but okay. Well, you probably did grow up quite poor. With Saturn in the second house. I mean, that's often what it is. And then Saturn's very unhappy being in Leo because he rules Aquarius. So, but then the cool thing is that Venus will enter what's going on here? Am I causing trouble? The cool thing here will be that Venus enters Leo here in June, pretty quick. I think it's June 4th or 5th or something like that. But she'll be in Leo then till October. And that's your second house of financial gain and livelihood. So this could be a nice time for you to reap some benefits if you've been putting your effort into a project or something like that. Things may come to fruition a bit. And like I said, over the next year, you could be getting help from people, friends or benefactors. Like I said, like someone who says, oh, you do good at that. I want to help you. I think of patrons and fans and stuff like that too, as part of the 11th house. Saturn is now going through your 9th. Your worldview is going to be challenged by the time we hit 2026. What you believe and hold dear right now is going to be completely different. And it might be painful. For example, like with me, my whole notion of God was challenged, I think. I had that shattered. So, and that was a big deal for me because that was, it was part of my identity, My relationship to deity at the time was part of who I was. And having all that challenged and eventually shattered, threw me back on myself quite a bit. So, you may have the same experience. We'll see. Oh, excuse me. But you likely had a loss. Maybe even a death that happened, between 2020 and now. Or maybe it was a big unforeseen expense. Who knows? I shouldn't focus on the past, though. What about the future? The eclipses are in your 4th and 10th house. This is the time. This is the fruition time. So Jupiter's gone out of your 10th house, but the eclipse having been here means that this whole job or whatever situation is still going to be under the focus for the next 6 months or so. So, still, you could expect big career changes and then big changes in your living situation over the next year. So this is an exciting time. This is the time of the eclipse cycle when you see things manifest, right? So this is the fruition time. Whereas like the 2nd, 8th house part is like the consequences and, reaping and all that. I guess you could call this the harvest time, but the 2nd and 8th house stuff is, consequences. But this is really a powerful time for you. Oh, it can be exciting. Oh, it can be unnerving too. So, Mars in the fifth house, you naughty, naughty girl. You cheeky, cheeky monkey. Mars in the fifth house, and Venus, and Uranus. Oh my gosh, look at you. Dirty girl. Excuse me. But we should move on to someone else. We should move on to someone else. We should move on to someone else. Gosh, that money situation looked difficult though, doesn't it? I just wanted to make sure I didn't want to say any last minute thing. When Mars enters Leo here at the end of the month, just watch your spending habits. Watch your spending habits. Watch your spending habits throughout June. Watch your spending money throughout the month of June. Excuse me. Who else is here? Says here we did Molly. Shakedown 1979. Cool kids never have the time. Aaliyah. Oh, I had you here. Look at that. Well, we already talked about, I think, that's your Saturn return. And this will be an isolating type transit. This will be quite isolating. I think we've talked about that before. But Mars is going to enter your fifth house here pretty quick. And I don't know if you have children. You're still quite young. But if you do, expect difficulties with your children here as Mars goes into Leo here at the end of the month. So June, if you've got children, you're going to be fighting with them probably. Or, excuse me, you're going to have just difficulties in that area, you know. You could also just be super horny because when Mars goes through our fifth house, that happens too. But oftentimes, like if you have kids, that's the thing. Your kids will just fight you every which way. Like, no, I'm not doing that. You know, we all love kids, but they can also be assholes. Let's be honest, right? They can be terrible, terrible assholes, but they're also discovering things for the first time, aren't they? There are little darlings. Little hellions, kids being rebellious. That's Eminem. Oh, you have Jupiter and Venus so closely conjunct. Oh my God, well, Venus isn't happy, and it is the eighth house. But if you did have good luck, it would probably be from other people dying. I mean, inheritance stuff or whatever. Or maybe you're good with investment, you know, or other people's money. I don't know. I don't know, no. I don't know, no. But anyway, we should be talking about transits. So Mars, issues with kids. We talked about that. And also horniness, you know. And then who else is moving? Jupiter going into your second house. That should be fun. You know, this should be good for, I mean, if you have a small business, this should be a time where it all sort of, you know, it sort of coalesces. It becomes a thing for you. You start seeing returns from it. Okay. If you got a job not too long ago, this is where you start seeing the returns from it. The second house is our livelihood. It's how we make the bread and butter of our existence. So, I mean, Jupiter here bodes very, very well for a long-term, you know, business venture or something like that. By long-term, I'm talking about not long-term. I'm talking about like a year here. You know, so something where money starts coming up in about a year. Or within the next year or so. So. Excuse me. Venus is going into. Well, we talked about Mars, but Venus is going into your fifth house too, because she's sort of trailing Mars here. So Venus is going to be going through your fourth house for a little bit. So, you're trying to make your space beautiful, perhaps. It's like the nesting type thing, like, ooh, we're making our little nest, that kind of thing. But then Venus will go into your fifth house. Now Mars is already going through here, so it's probably the horny thing. This is probably where you're like really starting to be like, I need to get wet, and I need to, so, it could definitely be a time like that. Well, and think about this too. The eclipses now are oscillating between your first and seventh house. So you are sort of going to be in the midst of an existential crisis now for the next 6 months or so, which is going to affect the way you relate to other people, and it's going to affect existing relationships. In fact, you may see a big beginning or ending in a current relationship, right? You may break up with someone over the next year or so. Well, more likely as we get into October to, like fall, winter coming up. But it still could be something that you see the effects of coming up now, because as we start to experience ourselves in a different way, or we start to be challenged on our sense of self, then how we relate to other people is challenged too. And it disturbs and confuses our relationship. So you may see a big beginning and ending then between October of this year and in spring of next year when it comes to, you may meet someone. That too, it may be something that's beginning. So, excuse me. Because the last year was all about big losses, There was some sort of big loss you had to face probably between October and now, October of last year. So, facing a significant loss. Maybe it was just monetary. Maybe it was just money or material. But it could have been more than that. It could have been a person. So let's move on to someone else. Okay. I should look at the chat down here. Your dad passed away in 2014. And your family inherited his farming business. Alia. Didn't I already do you? Yeah. You're off to do some admin work. Have an awesome, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Heather. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Tax the richest and use that. Heather, you read my mind. Tax the richest and use that. Thank you, my darling. Thank you. You're at the top as well, Heather. It seems logical to be worried about. Donald vibes are off. What is your info? Donald vibes are off. What's that mean? Who's next? I could do whoever. I need someone's information. Oh, Revti. I don't even know if Revti's still here. Was Revti the next? Revti. Revti put their stuff in like 6 times. Revti. Oh, goodness. Well, hopefully, maybe Revti's still here. I don't know. Oh, and I don't do Vedic astrology, my darling. Oh, maybe they don't care. Revti. 11:05 p.m. 11:05 p.m. And where was this? Is that the place? Yeah, that looks like it. Well, are you still here, Revty? Well, Donald, I guess I'll do you, Donald, because Donald's in Poughkeepsie too. Donald's in Poughkeepsie. Well, I've got Revty's chart on here now for if and when they return. The return of Revty. The Revty returns. Okay, so we got the Donald. We got the Donald, okay. We're going to read your chart and it's gonna be fantastic, okay? From Poughkeepsie. I'm from Poughkeepsie. It's such a lovely town of Poughkeepsie. It's so fantastic. Lovely people are in Poughkeepsie, except for the ones that don't like me. They're not very lovely. But we don't talk about them. Okay. Yeah, Shannon is your friend. Shannon friend. Shannon friend. That's the labyrinth, if anyone knows the labyrinth. Everyone should know the labyrinth. Everyone should know the labyrinth. Turn back, Shannon. It's Sarah, not Shannon. Poughkeepsie. I'm probably not even pronouncing that right. Donald Breeder is huge. Is huge. Donald Breeder, I'd say he's a nice guy, real nice guy. Not so quick though when it comes to the, but nice guy though, nice guy, real nice guy. Fantastic people. I tell you, the best people, I tell you. The best people. Anyway, so Poughkeepsie. Oh, look, you got Venus and the sun. Oh, you're a very important person. You're a very important person. Very important. You see, you know who else has the sun in the first house conjunct their ascendant? My mom and Sarah Palin. I mean, when people have the sun in the first house and conjunct their ascendant like that, I mean, they tend to loom a little large in their own lives. Now, it is a Leo sun too, and that's sort of, the stereotype about Leo because Leo's ruled by the sun, and the sun is the center of its system. But the more important thing here is Mercury in the first house. It can be very intelligent, very intelligent and bright. But when everything's focused in the first house like this, right? And technically there's a conjunction. So it's a stellium, which is 3 or more planets conjunct in the same sign. And it puts extra emphasis on that house. So Donald, it's all about you. It's all about you, Donald. The Donald. Now, oftentimes if you take like a spiritual perspective on all this stuff, when you see a configuration like that, it's like, well, you were probably very deferential and subservient in a past life. And now it's all about building a strong, integrated personality, right? The mantra for Leo is, I am that I am. That's how God described itself to Moses. And it's not about self-aggrandizement, right? It's not about that. It's about learning how to build an integrated personality that can be of use. Because there's always a greater sun, right? The sun is the center of its system. But we also know astronomically that the sun is orbiting a supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. So there's also, and in the Greek mythology too, there was this idea that the sun was orbiting Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, right? And that was the second sun or the greater sun. So there still was this idea of scale, right, in ancient philosophy. We had the holy Tetractys in Pythagorean, I think it's Pythagorean, either Pythagorean or Platonic. But the Tetractys, it's the 10 dots in a triangle. Everything proceeds from the one, right? And that's the thing about Leo, right, is it can get this idea of being, very self-aggrandizing, thinking it's very important and much more important than it really is. But it's not about the relative importance. It's the relativity. It's the relativity between importance and insignificance. Because having a powerful, integrated individual self is a very useful thing. Look at the other Donald. Look at Donald Trump. He's a Leo rising. And he's a nasty person, in my opinion. And someone who wants to get rid of people like me, or who would very easily side with people who want to get rid of people like me. But you have to understand and give him credit for the fact that he does have an integrated personality, right? I mean, it's a very strong personality. You can take a lesson from that and say, well, gee, that's what someone who's got that strong core, looks like. The motive is all fucking wrong. And this is where you could be hopefully a better person, because it's about motive. Motive. Now everyone says, oh, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Well, would you rather go on the road that's paved with good intentions or bad intentions? And the point is that motive matters, because motive is what inspires, it's what motivates, right? Our motives, our intentions are what inspire our actions, or at least they should, right? Even if our motives are bad, be honest with yourself about your motive, because that's the most important thing, is why you do what you do. So learning to be a strong column of support in a bigger edifice or building, right? Columns need to be strong, just like a Leo, but they cooperate in a bigger enterprise, you see? And that's what the opposite sign Aquarius is about. It's about the collective enterprise. And you need both of them together.
You can't have one without the other. Love and marriage.
No one probably remembers that song. Or Married with Children, which that song was sort of a theme for. But anyway, well, now, and you're having your Saturn return, my darling. So this is a turning point in life. And you may, again, 8th house, you may experience a big loss here. You may experience a big loss. That brings you a bit more maturity. It could be a big financial loss, over the next several years, but it could also be a death that you have to deal with. So. But you see, this is a time to face your fears. The 8th house is about fear also. Things that we hide from ourselves. The other thing that happens as Saturn tours the 8th house is we have to face traumas that we thought we were over. The 8th house brings up stuff from our past that, we thought was over. We thought was gone. We thought we had already dealt with. And then it comes up again and we have to face it. And we had to face this trauma and these fears and whatever. And oftentimes it can make daily life very difficult because you have this thing looming in your mind all the time, and you're replaying these scenes, oftentimes from childhood, and trying to make sense of some of this stuff. And it takes your attention away from other things, But this definitely isn't, this is the time when you sort of depart childhood, Donald. This is the end of childhood this time, for all intents and purposes. I know you probably thought, well, I became an adult as soon as I got my dick wet. Sorry, darling, no. That's happening now. And hopefully you get your dick wetter and wetter as time goes on. But this is maturity time. This is maturity time. This is the only time I really feel alive. Oh, you're passive aggressive too, probably. You just need to be direct, like Daria. I've got to be direct. Just get on with it. Say what you mean what you say. Own that shit. You might be good with insults, though. The snippy snips. The quippy quips and the snippy snips. Doodle-doo. You got a DUI. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, darling. Well, that's a 3rd house type thing. So, so. Um, Gosh, Mars in the third house. Yeah, you do have to watch driving. Oh, you poor darling got a DUI. 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 Where was Mars? Mars was in Gemini. In your 11th house. That could have been it. Well, Mars, I mean, it depends on when you got that DUI. But oh, is that your maturity thing you're talking about? Is that your maturity thing, getting a DUI? You don't want that on your record, my darling. I mean, you might be able to find a good lawyer for that. So, Mars was going through your 11th house, which is usually fights with friends. And then at the end of March, he entered Cancer, which is your 12th house. So maybe that's when you had this DUI thing, because the 12th house is also, criminal stuff. So what's up with his North Node in Scorpio? What do you mean, what's up with it? I don't really give a whole lot of thought to the sign that the North Node is in too much. It's more the house placement. So I really wouldn't think too much about his North Node being in Scorpio. Really? Because the North Node is in the sign for like a year and a half. So, but having it in his 4th house, it shows that, maybe the early part of life is, what can I do? What can I achieve? What can I succeed at? How do I get recognition? How do I get people to notice me? How do I get? How do I get? And over time, he probably starts to learn it's not about getting or getting somewhere or getting something. It's going to sound cheesy, but home is where the heart is. He's going to learn about what's really valuable as he gets older. And what he values will start to change. He might start to value things like family, like roots. Maybe something to do with homeland or patriotism, I don't mean like patriotism, like, but something to defend your home, your place of birth, your origin, your country of origin. Life over time is going to get more reflective, less about doing things and achieving things and more about the meaning of things. The 4th house isn't just the home and origins, it's also the mysteries. In Vedic astrology, it was often the house of moksha, as my understanding, of liberation, because that was the deepest, darkest part of our charts, which is why it's our origins as well. So, to me, having having the North Node here says we're going to be less and less focused on, being recognized for things or achieving things externally, or being visible or seen for something in particular, but more about our reflection upon things. Much more about what things mean to us and what their influence is upon, our people in our immediate sphere, the influence that we have in general. It's a reflective type of placement. Digging into yourself. Finding what's of value in you rather than outside, which is the 10th house. What is of value in you? Like Christ, he said, store up your treasures and don't store up your treasures on earth where moths, right, can eat and all that sort of stuff and rot away whatever your treasure is. Store up your treasures in heaven, right, where none of that stuff happens. Everything fades away. Beauty dies and fades and decays. The treasure in your heart, right? The treasure of your heart. A bit more substantial, isn't it? Right? But we learn that over time. So part of fortune in the 12th house. You got it in June. Yeah, I hope that was your loss. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. I hope so too. June of last year. June of last year. Trying to remember if I remember anything of June of last year. The part of fortune in his 12th house. Well, part of fortune gives us a bit of, it's, when people think of it just as getting luck or success in a particular way, but it's our bodily stuff too. So that could also be the alcoholic thing, to be quite honest with you. The 12th house is addiction and mental health and stuff like that. So now there could be an upside to all that. You know, your experience of these things could bring you some sort of relatability or you know, make you useful with other people, or even bring you some of your own sort of success in a way. Venus is your 10th house ruler and is in the first house. Having your first house or your 10th house ruler in the fourth house conjunct your ascendant is really lucky. You know, I mean, you're probably a pretty lucky person and very charming. I mean, you probably, you know, probably sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. Sell hair dye to Mr. Clean, you know. Probably a terrible bullshitter, but very magnetic. You have a great personality, probably. Be a good salesperson, you know. Maybe fights with siblings. I don't know. Fights with siblings, no. So yeah, I'm hoping that's your loss too. I'm hoping that's your loss too. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. 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 Anyway. Well, gosh, I've been on way too long. I hope everyone liked this stream, and I hope, lucky in what sense? Like just in general? I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, the 10th house ruler in the first house. No, it usually bodes well for success, is what I mean. Oh, you hate your sister. Yeah, I mean Mars in the third house. That makes sense. So, no, I mean, it bodes well for success in general, like being a successful person. Either being, you see these angular placements, see where it says MC, this is considered an angle. This AS, that's the ascendant, it's an angle. These are power points, these four angles in our charts, right? The closer planets are to these, the more power they get, right? So having these planets be so angular gives them added power, right? So there's a powerful personality, right? There's a sense of charm, right? I mean, people would probably like you. There's a sense of magnetism and intelligence, right? But then under the surface, there's all this other crap, you know, that you have to deal with. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because you can pay for a reading for that. But no, I mean, you're generally there's a sense of success, you know, and of likability probably. So, you know, anyway, your life is messed up right now. Well, yeah, of course it is. And you got Saturn going through your 8th house. It is messed up. And I think you're going to have a bad financial time over the next year or so. But things will get better. You're going to have Jupiter enter your 10th house here in May, right? I mean, just a few weeks. And this is such a cool thing. You know, I mean, this is a really lucky thing. So over the next year, I mean, like I said, you're going to have some difficulty over the next year in terms of money. You're also going to have some really good opportunities in terms of career success or recognition, right? Getting noticed. So things might seem sort of difficult in the midst, but you're about to enter sort of a lucky time, you know? It is sort of a lucky time. I don't know. Are you trying to go back to school or something? Is school a thing? I don't know. But I gotta go. I gotta eat, you know? I gotta eat. I've been on here for fucking ever now. Shit. So I hope y'all like this. You know this, you like this, hit the stream this and like this and this and this. Yeah, I'm sorry you're having a rough time, my darling. It gets better, though. It gets better, though. This Jupiter thing is going to be lovely. So this will be from May 16th of this year till May of next year. And Venus, well, Mars will be going through your first house too. So while Mars is going through your first house, just please, so the end of this month throughout June, just be careful about driving. Be careful while using knives. Take your time. Don't rush things because you could get into accidents, Oh, here's fucking Rev T now. Rev T, I pulled up your chart and you weren't here. You are the absolute. I should have already left now. All you motherfuckers better be appreciative because I should be eating. I should be eating food. Oh, you are trying to go back to school? Yeah, so this is a big deal. So this is boding well for you going back to school. Excuse me. So you could hear about some significant stuff to do with school now over the next 6 months. But school is going to be the focus for the next year and a half, probably. Whatever that means to you. So here's Rev T. When is she going to get a job? When is she going to get a job? Mercury is her 10th house ruler. Mercury is not happy. So you've not, and Mercury's opposite your midheaven. That means perfectly conjunct your IC. I actually have Mercury conjunct my IC too, like that. But thank God Mercury does not rule my 10th house. That makes things a little bit more difficult for you in terms of the job stuff because Mercury's not happy in Sagittarius. Mercury rules Gemini. So there's a difficulty in general when it comes to career and jobs with you. But what's going on right now? What's going on right now? Well, Mars has been going through your 10th house, or had, before April. So you were having issues, difficulties with your job situation. Is there anything good coming up? What's Mercury doing that's good? Well, Mercury's retrograde right now in your 9th house. Mercury's retrograde right now in your 9th house. Let's see here. Well, you would have had something significant happen with jobs in June of 2021. Between June and December of 2021. Something significant happened with jobs back then. But let me see what's happening now. And then I have to go. And gosh, you were a little forceful in asking. Gosh. Bi-wheel. Rev T. Oh, you wrote 1305 Rev T earlier. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That was the wrong thing. Never mind. I was wrong. That was right in there. I thought it was the wrong time for a second. That was someone else. So when does Mercury go into Gemini again? Well, Mercury goes into Gemini on, Mercury goes into Gemini in June. Wait, cancel. No, don't do that. When does Mercury go into Gemini? It's in June. I should know this off the top of my head. My mic is picking up weird things. The hell's that sound? So yeah, like June 11th, June 10th, I guess, June 10th, June 11th. So once Mercury, so I think June, Rev T, getting into mid-June. When does Mercury get to 20 degrees? 20 degrees. 20 degrees. See, whenever I animate the fucking chart, it disappears. So shitty. Where's Mercury? I went too far. Mercury! Freddie Mercury! Okay, there we go. 20 degrees. So, like, towards the end of June, I think would be the good time. Mercury will be conjunct your midheaven. That's what I would expect anyway. So I hope that was helpful, Rev T. And I hope you please like and subscribe. And now I have to go eat because you vultures have taken up all my time. Oh. So please go to the description. Follow me on social media. You want to know about in IT sector? I told you about the job, sweetheart. And it was Mercury. I have to go eat right now, my darling. And you did not even say please. So, what's that noise? Oh my gosh. I just pulled my earring out of my ear. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. And Mercury rules the IT sector. So there you go. So anyway, love you, love you, love you. Love you, love you, love you. Everyone's gone anyway. What a sucker I am for staying on. Jesus.